The Navy Chief Admiral Hari Kumar today said that the centre is making every effort to secure the release of the 8 Navy veterans who've been handed the death penalty in Qatar. Every effort is being made by the government to ensure we take up through the legal course and we get relief for our personnel, is what he said. His remarks came after the Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar met families of the 8 former Indian Navy personnel. Dr. Jaishankar said India will continue to make all efforts to secure their release. The men, including decorated officers, were working for Dahra Global Technologies and Consultancy Services. That's a private firm that provided training and related services to Qatar's armed forces. Sources say some of them were working on a highly sensitive submarine project. Some reports say that the 8 Navy veterans have been accused of spying. The fact of the matter is that there's very little that the government actually does know, because the entire process of justice in Qatar has been very, very silent. The exact allegations, etc., have not been spelt out. The government has earlier expressed its shock at the verdict and is now looking into this very, very closely indeed. Well, joining us now, somebody who's in touch with the families of the 7 officers and the sailor, Commander KP Sanjeev Kumar. He's been tracking this right from the onset. Commander Kumar, are the families satisfied, happy, hopeful after the meeting with the Foreign Minister today?
I spoke to a few of them after the meeting, and I think hopeful would be the appropriate word because the weekend was terrible for them. The verdict was passed on a Thursday, and then thereafter Qatar went into a weekend. And when we woke up on Sunday, we were still nowhere close to knowing where the case is going. And they were back in India over the weekend, and all of them, I think representatives from all the families met the External Affairs Minister this morning. And I think this has been the first meeting since this entire case unfolded last year. So hopeful they're filled with hope. They're very satisfied with the assurances given to them. But understand that these assurances have come from the minister after 1 year personally. So obviously, the miserable condition that the families are right now, any word of assurance coming from any official, especially coming from the top diplomat in the country, has brought them a lot of relief. But we will have to we'll have to wait this out and see how this unfolds in the next few weeks.
Yeah. What is the condition of the officers and that sailor been over the last 9-10 months?
Vishnu, as per my information, they were kept in solitary confinement for about 8 months, and they were having decent facilities. They are attached to a washroom. The food was, to my information, food was okay. They had some opportunities to kind of access doctors and healthcare within the confined area of the prison. But I have not the immediate reports that have come out in the last a month or so has indicated that they've lost weight considerably. Each of them have lost weight considerably. They are like anything between 5 to 15 kgs they've lost. They're looking considerably.
They've lost weight. Yeah, emaciated.
They've lost weight.
So
I don't want to use the word unwell, but they have lost a lot of weight. You can imagine the solitary confinement can do the damage that can do to individuals. But beyond that, I do not have any information. It's a prison. It's detention. It's confinement. So the feedback matches with that.
Commander Kumar, is there any clarity on the allegations against them?
Absolutely none. You see, that's the thing. We have, since the case came into public information last year, there has been no official word on what exactly are the charges. Right, not from any official handle, and now that is that space, that void has been filled with misinformation. And I particularly want to bring out this point that this whole angle of espionage, spying, where does it come from? Where did this input come from? To add insult to injury, we have dragged in some kind of rumor packets are floating about a submarine classified project. Please understand, Vishnu, that these officers were involved in training at a very junior level. At a junior level, as in running kind of sub-lieutenant's courses, training their sailors, training their junior officers to stand watch, to navigate a ship, in basics of gunnery, communications. To my knowledge, they were nowhere involved with any submarine project, let alone a classified one. So I would, through this medium, I would like to request people that if people do not know much about this case, at least we should avoid speculating, because to drag rumors into the space is to do terrible damage to the case. And these kind of sensational news are easily picked up by our adversaries and used to full benefit. I have nothing apart from what has come out in the public media, which is mostly speculative in nature. We do not have any official word about what exactly are the charges, and I hope that some of the family members, I don't think the family members even know what are the charges.
Yeah.
The lawyer knows, but all the dealings of all the hearings have been in Arabic. So here we are. I mean, we are nowhere close to knowing what exactly is the charges. Maybe somebody in MEA knows.
What is the process? What is the process from now onwards?
Well, there are two levels of appeal. The Court of Appeal, which is the next, they have to file a petition within 15 days. And then the Court of Cassation. There are just these two levels in the judicial process. And of course, the Emir can step in at any time and pardon them, which is what we actually are looking for. Because, even the second best option, that let's say the death sentence is not, obviously it's unimaginable that it will be executed, it will be carried out. But even if you commute the death sentence, that's 25 years. These officers are all pushing 50. Some of them are pushing 60s. 25 years means it's practically the end of their useful lives. It's an unacceptable outcome as far as I'm concerned. I mean, the only thing we should be looking for is to invoke some of the clauses in the 2015 agreement of repatriation of prisoners. But remember, that is not applicable to the death sentence. Mm-hmm. So if you have to make any headway on this, the first and foremost, the death sentence has to be dropped. And we should be actually aiming much higher than that. We should just making an appeal through all our channels to completely close this case and bring them back, because there is seriously nothing to it. They were doing above board work, training the Qatari Emirate naval forces for the last, and it's not something which happened 2 years.
Is there any idea or any clarity on why, or any suspicion on the timing of this particular order?
Well, I can't comment on that, because these hearings have been going on since March 22nd of this year, and this, I think, was pronounced in the 7th hearing. But to be fair, leaving the geopolitics of this aside, of which I am not an expert, the hearing, the last hearing where this verdict was pronounced, was an utter shocker. I don't think anybody was prepared for that, and that just dropped, like a bomb on their in that court. And how to connect this with the ongoing geopolitics and whether that found its way into the judicial process, I'm no expert, but I want to avoid speculating on that.
Could you tell us a little bit about the company that they worked for?
Well, this company, initially, as you may be aware, I think that information is to be placed in the public domain, that this, the training work that Commander Purneet Tiwari started was, initially he started this enterprise in Singapore, which has nothing to do with Dara. He was an extremely capable officer who had taken retirement from the Navy, not because he ran out of any avenues, because he was very entrepreneurial. So he started this defense training enterprise in Singapore, which was very successful. And I think at that time, this was in the 2006-2010 time frame, there was a coincidence of wants from both sides, because Qatar wanted India or Indian Navy to help them with their training. Bringing their trainees to India and training them may not have met their requirements. So there was a pressing need to conduct this kind of training in Qatar. So because of whatever reasons, I don't know exactly why the MOD or the Navy did not actively pursue it and take up that assignment. Maybe within the time frame that was available, private enterprise would have been able to move in faster. And it was simply shifting what Commander Tiwari did in Singapore and creating that suited to the requirements of the Qatari forces. In Qatar.
All of these men were distinguished in the Indian Navy. For the benefit of our viewers, yes, could you tell us a little bit about their commands, their roles, just to sort of make the point that even in the Indian Navy, they passed from one rank to the other. They were given really serious appointments on the basis of their ability. For starters, you don't get those posts if you're somebody who potentially starts leaking information. That's the first thing that you are sort of assessed for.
Absolutely, Vishnu. These people have not left the Navy because of any other reason. The people leave the Navy for different reasons, to pursue a career outside. Maybe their entrepreneurial needs were not met within the Navy. For whatever reason, that is not for us to judge. But you can ask I know two of them personally. I do not know the rest of them very personally, but I know two of them, and I can vouch for them. They're my postmates. These people are from training can only be imparted by people who are themselves assessed to be trainers, who are themselves far ahead of their peers, who are themselves very capable to start with. So this kind of a training to create training capacities at this level in a foreign country, it has to be both ways. The people have to be appropriately selected, and the country that they are going to, that country should actually find them capable of doing that. Otherwise, how are they going to run this business? So this has been going on to my mind, for almost 14 years now. So, and they have been making a great impact there. The work that they've been doing has come under a lot of appreciation from all sides, which is the reason why I suspect that there could be agencies who are inimical to this, would have wanted to create a situation where they vacate the space and somebody takes over.
Look, Commander Kumar, thank you very much for talking to us and, sort of spelling out what you know at this stage. The government says they're looking at it very closely. At this stage, the families would be looking upon the government to one way or the other get these men out of Qatar. Thank you very much, sir, for being with us.
Thank you.